This is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Elton, who's not here today, but we are recording for Podalooza. And we're so proud to be podcasters on the show. And I have in my room today, I have Dale Young. So, Dale Young, tell me all about it. Please share your story.
Well, that would be tough to do in the time that we have available, but let me shorten it as much as I can. I am Dale Young. I'm a life coach, leadership coach, and spiritual coach, all in the Fort Worth, Texas area. I do most of my work via Zoom. I've worked with people all over the world, and I am a recent #1 best-selling author
Oh,
with The Power of Aligning Your Faith and Business.
mhm.
The proven way to clear direction, fulfilling results, and joyful peace. So, um, my background is I started out in IT, did IT and business and leadership and team building and a whole bunch of other things. And in 2011, got hit with the coaching bug, started doing coach training, became an ICF certified coach. And the journey from full-time IT to full-time coaching was about 10 years long. First 5 of it was full-time IT, and then the second 5 was part-time IT, and it was just an amazing, amazing journey. So, but right now, starting about 2022, I started focusing really on helping businesses, micro businesses, I call them, businesses with 10 or less employees, to really focus on how do you bring your faith into your business in a way that works for you. You don't necessarily have to be outwardly facing Christian or whatever, but you need to have your own internal system set up and everything. And so how do you get that to work? Because when you get that all in alignment, that's when you have the power of God behind you.
Absolutely. And when you say power of God, are you a Christian book author? So my husband is a pastor too, and
Mhm.
so we talk a lot about faith on his channel. So I'll make sure that we connect so that we can have you on a multiple channels that we do as well. So when did this change from being a IT person? I know you touched upon it when you introduced me, but what motivated you to grow in faith and then write a book?
Really, it, the transition point, I go back to 1992. I was a techie. I was getting into some leadership, and I was working for a defense contractor. I was on assignment down in Australia, working for a defense contractor that was working for the U.S. government, and also the base had the Australian government there as well. They were giving us buku money. It was like stupid money. And everybody there was just, rolling in it basically. And they had changed one of the benefits, so they started taxing one of the benefits. And I mean, we're talking about a little minuscule amount, a few dollars a month type of thing. But we were all at lunch. There were 7 of us at lunch. And it was one of those things that somebody made a comment and the next person commented, and it just kind of ratcheted around the table, right? Just, how it just kind of grows. And we're talking about quitting and doing all this other stuff, right? And I'm right in there with them. And out of my mouth comes this phrase, well, this is just a job, not a career. And it was in that moment that I realized I was working towards the wrong thing. I was working towards money and success and business, and programming. And I realized I wanted to do something different. And I didn't even know what that was at the time. I wasn't even actively a Christian at the time. And then in 1998, I actually accepted Christ and started following him. But that 1992 revelation started me on a 30-year journey. And the 30-year journey went into leadership and team building and coaching and a whole bunch of other things, including a unexpected divorce in 2016 that
Oh,
I didn't really expect or want or any of that. Tried for 4 years to save it. And anyway, so things just all shifted and changed around. But in 2022, 30 years later, I got the words, Dale, your calling is to inspire calling. And I said, okay, what does that mean? I had to think about it because what is calling, right? I mean, you hear a call, but what is calling really? And so putting it together, I really felt like, we all have a purpose, we all have a unique purpose, and it felt like God's unique purpose for me, his divine purpose for me, he was pulling me towards that. That was his calling on my life. And so my calling from God is to try and get other people to listen to their calling from God and help them achieve whatever it is that God is trying to achieve through them. So my calling is to inspire calling, no matter where I work.
That's like a caption of its own. Inspired. Yeah, that's amazing. Um, what a story. What a journey. And so, what can people expect from the book?
People can expect some good stories. I'd actually talk about four of my clients that gave me permission to write about them
Mhm.
and the results that they got through some of the processes that I've developed over the years. And some of the frameworks and some of the structures that I've put in place on how to get get you into alignment and get you to where you're actually following Christ in a way that's unique uh, and honest for yourself type of thing. Um, but I like to say it this way: I think there's two big questions in the world, and one question is, who are you? Who are you at a very deep level, right? And the other question is, why are you here?
Yeah.
Okay. And the who are you question really boils down into two different things. There's your identity, your personal identity about, how you were born, raised, all that sort of stuff. But identity always has a group component as well. Okay. Who are you, from your family of origin? Who are you from your church family now? Who are you in terms of, who do you hang around? It was Jim Rohn that said you're the average of the five people you most associate with or whatever. I don't think it's quite that limited, but it's a nice phrase. So, who are your pickleball buddies that you're hanging around with all the time or whatever? Okay. So you put those two, the identity and the community together to get your who of who you are. And then I think you've got your purpose, your divine purpose, and your calling towards that divine purpose. And that's what I call the why. Why are you here? And so putting all those three together, I call that the triad of significant impact. Because when you have just one of those, you may make an impact, but it's not necessarily going to be significant, not going to be, leaving a legacy or whatever. When you have all three in alignment, you are then able to really make a significant impact.
That is so, you've touched upon so many different things,
I do that.
about how your faith could just jumble around because if you were living like in the 20th century, there was one church, one village, every day you'd see the same people and you'd experience the same thing. But now today you got your pickle ball buddies, you got your work buddies, you got, and so you're being influenced by different things around you. And so your personal growth now has to be your personal growth. So really, I know I do a lot of meditation and I pray a lot, and my husband prays a lot. And I think that, I always say when you want to talk to God or when you want to get deeper in your faith, you really have to spend time alone. And that sometimes becomes very hard for people to understand, that you really have to make that time to spend with God and your own personal faith, because that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to believe. That's when whatever's around you doesn't bother you anymore. And your journey, it's kind of like the Red Sea. I mean, it's like when Moses, took everybody into the whole river. I mean the sea just parted ways,
Mhm.
or when you think of Misha and Shadrach walking on fire, or the apostles catching fish. So that magic moment really happens when you start to believe. And there's a book called The Secret that talks a lot about that as well, because it's really what you manifest, what you say, what you do that makes all the difference. I can't wait to read your book. It sounds like terrific, and I think you've really got so many different things that could help so many people. So where's is the book available? On Amazon, I'm guessing,
It is.
and so where do you currently live?
Uh, well, I live in Fort Worth, Texas. So, yeah, but yeah, the my website is coachdale.com,
Okay,
and my email is dale@coachdale.com.
okay,
That's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
okay. And I'll make sure that that information is available in the comment section below. So, what are some of the tips that you'd like to give, especially since you were not a Christian and then you became a Christian and then you became a book author? So, this whole journey, how, I mean, it's just just talking to you, I'm just thinking about so many questions that I might have. So, what advice would you give to a new believer, and why the journey is so important, and then your book.
So the advice I'd say it goes back to the 7 habits of highly effective people. One of the habits is start with the end in mind. And so think about what kind of impact you want to have through your life, through your journey. And I kind of like to ask people this question. What is your opinion of what's the difference between an inheritance and a legacy? And I think of it this way. An inheritance is something you leave to someone, maybe money or land or something like that. A legacy is what you leave in someone. You made a difference in their lives. Okay. And so that legacy that you live, that's going to have a ripple effect and go out and touch a whole lot more lives because you're leaving something in somebody that's going to then go affect everybody else. So start thinking about what kind of impact you want to have at the end of your life. What kind of legacy you want to leave. What's that going to look like? You made $1 million, but you had a divorce and you had, a broken family and all this other stuff. Or do you want to go out with, well, I made a few pennies, but, I had a great family life.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
think about those kinds of questions. And one of the things that I offer for free is a spiritual gifts assessment
yeah.
that then will marry up with what you're doing in business.
Right.
Okay. And so that will actually get you together. So I'll put that in the link in the chat as well here.
That sounds fantastic. My parents were very spiritual, and my mother would have food for everybody, and anybody would visit us. They'd get a meal, they'd get gifts to take home. She was just that kind of person. And when my parents passed away, people still go to their grave and pray and visit them and take flowers or candles or whatever. And my husband could never understand that, but the legacy is really what you're talking about. It's the impact that you made on someone. And, people donate to charities, in my parents' name and everything. And because the people remember you for what you did. And I think that is something that we have to have a purpose in life. Many people think that this life is just given to them, but no, it's a gift. I mean, when you think of, like, you could not be here. Every minute is a grace. And so every person you meet, like I met you today and I'm blessed with this interview. So every interview you've met someone, you've done something. So do you touch topics like that in your book?
Yes, absolutely.
And what
I'll talk
advice?
about legacy. I'll talk about legacy, your impact, and how to get there. I actually have some tools in the book, some structures and some frameworks. And I have a ton of questions in there. So when you say get alone and start thinking about it and meditating on it, these questions will help you through that meditation process.
Fantastic. I can't wait to read the book, and we have a book club as well, and I can't wait to have you on our Christian podcast as well, with your book. So I will definitely be in touch with you, and let's really make this happen. So I'd like to close out with saying, that this has been an incredible. How long did it take for you to put the book together?
Well, I started in May last year, so it's been now at this point it's been 13 months. But I really wasn't trying to get it finished in a particular timetable. So from May to December, I was just kind of poking along and doing it as I could. And then in January this year, God raised the priority on it.
Yeah,
So
that's
so
true.
it came out actually April 7th. So
Yeah,
yeah.
fantastic. So then, who did you really write the book for? Did you write it for yourself, or did you write it with an audience in mind?
I wrote it for small business owners, the micro business owners of, 10 or less employees who were struggling with growing to the next step, to scaling their business to the next step. That's really what I do in my professional life is help people get to the next step through, putting systems and processes into their business and through integrating their spiritual journey into their integrated life, their complete wholeness of life.
Because it's true, sometimes, many people, my target audience is business owners as well, and veterans, especially people from the military or corporate executives who now turn into their second career. And many people just start a business. They have a passion for something, they go to a restaurant, they love it, and next thing you know, they want to open a restaurant with no experience, no idea what they're getting themselves into, and then they get stuck. So I guess that's the point where your faith has to come in to say, if you had this vision and dream and you need to now take your business to the next level, because really nobody's going to help you. There's comes a point where family and friends who invested, there's no more money left to get, and you are on your own when you are a business owner. And you hit that brick and you go like, now what? Where do I go now? And that's when God comes in and makes that magic happen, and you become successful. But success does, because many people think that, if I just start a business, like people write a book and think, oh, I'll just sell 1 million copies tomorrow. But it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of perseverance, it's a lot of retooling, learning new things, having faith. So I think that is a great target audience. You really were spot on, as they would say. Um, and so, what would you like to tell business owners about faith?
Faith is absolutely essential for a small business owner. You have to have faith that good things are going to come towards you. You have to have faith that you're on the right track. And the actual subtitle of my book is The Proven Way to Clear Direction, Fulfilling Results, and Joyful Peace. Because you have to know that that next right step is coming up, that clear direction. When you get that clear direction, you take that and you get that one little result, then it leads you to say, okay, if I keep working this process and keep listening to God and getting the next clear direction, those bigger fulfilling results are going to come. And to really to lean into all that, you have to have that joyful peace. And that has to start with gratitude.
Yeah,
Okay. You actually have to say thank you for what you do have every morning and typically every evening as well in my case, and
yeah,
just say, I am so blessed. I'm so blessed to be able to get to do what I get to do. And when you do that, you get that joyful peace that lets you make that connection with God a whole lot easier. Once you have that, then you can actually focus on, okay, I need to meditate. I need to put down the little distraction device and and get it out. I need to focus on what I need to do. And so, a lot of it just comes with the idea that you have a purpose. God wants you to do something in the world. What is it? Lean into it, figure out what it is, and go do it. And I'm here to help.
I love that. On that wonderful note, we will now close this interview. And if any of you would like to get the book, we'll make sure that it's available in the comment section. If you'd like to get a consultation, that information will be available. So thank you, Dave. You made my day. This has been a fantastic interview, and I hope to see more of you. We do a lot of events and things like that, and I hope to see more of you with your book. So good luck with that, and thank you for this interview.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and I will be in touch.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Where is the record button? Hold on. Oh, there it is.